got to tell you guys, we are on a heat wave today. It's supposed to be 20 degrees. 20 degrees. And this is going to feel like a heat wave. I got to say, I cannot
Oh, heck yeah.
wait. The past few days have been terrible. The week started rough. We had regrouping. We're finally getting the feeling back in our fingers. And and here we are, everybody. Welcome back to the Thursday episode show of the Two Dumb Users. This is episode 678. I want to say to everybody, good morning. Yeah, it's a heat wave today, Derpy. How you feeling? How you liking it, man? How you liking this winter weather?
Well, it could be worse. It could be Florida.
Well, you know what? South Florida is the only place that didn't get hit with this winter storm, guys. Miami, the Miami-Dade County area is the only county in the country that didn't get hit with this the snow, the storm, whatever it is that you want to call it. I have a friend in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He says they got 4 inches in the beach area of South Carolina. I seen the Panama area got blasted with snow. So I guess I guess you could be one place in this country and not have to deal with this. To be South Florida, but there you have it, guys. This is the worst winter we've had in a couple years.
Yeah, but it's still not even that bad though. Like I remember dealing with worse winters than this.
You know, the 16 below. Yeah, that's the 16 below is lovely, and
that's what separates the men from the boys.
16 below. What is that? That's like 50 degrees below free. I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous when I get. Whenever I see a negative in the number, that's not for me anymore. No. I gotta tap out.
Have you ever taken a pot, Mike, out in the cold when it's like this with boiled water and throw it into the air and watch it freeze?
No.
I did it and it works. However, I seen something I want to do even more now. This guy had a pot of water. And I don't even know how. I mean, I can't even imagine how he did this, but he had this pot of water and he took it and he dumped it in a spiral, and it was freezing as it was dropping, and it was turning into a spiral of frozen water.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable just how cold it is. Again, I've done it before with throwing it into the air, and it's really neat. It turns into the solid ice particles, and they're all falling to the ground. And but like I said, I'd rather not. I'd rather not be doing this. But here we are, guys. We are on a heat wave once again.
Did you see
20 degrees today in Western Pennsylvania. I know it's not great anywhere in the country except for South Florida. So do be careful and keep warm. There can't possibly be much more of this to go. No. Guys, we're coming to the end of January. Here we are, January 23rd. And, baseball's starting soon, so it's got to stop soon, Mike.
Yeah, you would think it has to stop soon, but, still February and March to go through. There's still going to be some cold weather, but hopefully no more of this negative nonsense.
Did you guys see this? Did you see that someone, the water pipeline broke, and then the cars froze over? I don't know if you saw that.
I've seen stuff like that happen before in the past. Yeah, that would suck. You have to chisel your car out. I'm like, nah.
We used to have that every year. Whenever I was in school, it seemed like we had water line breaks every year. You don't see it anymore like I used to. I mean, it was like I felt like every month we were getting out of school because there was a water line break.
It's because they broke so much they fixed them. They got the new stuff in there. I know they got the all those old pipes corroded and broke. So now you don't got to deal with it. They got all the new nice PVC piping in there.
It's rough, man. Yeah. Because PVC don't crack and break or nothing when it gets frozen. It's just a pain. I don't know. I'm so over the plumbing. I'm so over the HVAC.
Do I look like a plumbing? Do I look? I'm not a plumbing guy. I just know what they use.
Well, you do look like a plumbing guy. However, you're not a plumbing guy.
I do.
Here we go. Hey, what's up, my man? Good morning to you on the board.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Western
Cannibal Warrior. He says it's cold in Western North Carolina. I believe it. It's insane. Again, 20 degrees here. This is a heat wave. We're up about 30 degrees from what it was over the past couple of days. I'm over with it, Mike. I'm just through with it. I'm ready to move on. But here we are, stuck straight smack dab in the middle. Guys, let's talk some sports.
Stuck.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
hell yeah.
What was you asking me the other day, or what was you asking me before we went on Derpy? You said, are we gonna recap something? And then we went live
Yeah,
and
are
we
we
didn't
gonna
hear what you
recap
said.
the division? Are we gonna recap the
The
division?
divisional round.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
we
if
do. We got
if
some
we
things planned here for today. We got some things planned for today, Derpy. Let me start with some Steelers. Now, you know what? Let me start with
Yes.
some. I don't know. What do you want me to start with? Let me
Whatever you
start.
want, man. Dealer's choice, baby.
Let's start with this. Road teams in the playoffs this year: 0-8. The Commanders
Ooh.
2-0.
Ooh.
Commanders
Ooh.
2-0. Road teams 0-8. Of course, Commanders play both their games on the road. The Commanders also, in the position that they're in, they do have an opportunity to become the third team to beat the 1, the 2, and is a number 6. Obviously behind the Steelers of 0-8, and then the Packers team that beat us in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. That was the second team. And the Washington Commanders / Redskins, they have an opportunity to become the third, provided they win this weekend and go to the Super Bowl. It would be only the third team that from the 6th seed was able to beat the 1, the 2, and the 3 to advance to the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'm playing games with myself here, but it feels like the closer we're getting, I'm feeling a little bit more confident in the Washington Commanders.
I did see that.
I know that I'm going to be made a fool of on Sunday, but I mean, pound for pound, Philadelphia is just a really good team. But on the other hand, guys, let's think of it this way. Take a moment and think. Look what the Commanders have been able to do with their rookie quarterback and rebuilding on the fly. Teams automatically look at what the Patriots do when they rebuild on the fly and try to, make some splash moves. Guys, why can't we be more like the Commanders than the other team? Why do we have to be the Patriots if we were to totally dismantle, grab our quarterback, jump back in and try? You see what I'm saying? Everyone just automatically assumes that if we
Yeah.
make these big changes, things are going to be for the worse. When look at a team like Washington. This isn't a traditionally good team. They put some pieces in the right places and players and coaches and some things, and they made it happen. And look, they're just one game. I mean, guys, this time next week, we could be 10 days away from the Super Bowl
Yeah.
played by the Washington Commanders. I mean, I proposed yesterday on just a friendly thread that the guys here on the show have, and I said, guys, why don't we just ditch QB1, ditch QB2, let Skylar Thompson play, get 3 to 6 wins, get a high draft pick, get our quarterback in the 2026 draft in Pittsburgh, and see what we can do. Derpy automatically, he didn't like it.
No.
And I know why.
We all know why.
Yeah, we know why. Because he wants Fields to get his choice, but his chance. However, Fields has been, he's been 5 years in the league. Does he really feel like that guy to you? Does he feel like the guy that's going to take you to the promised land? I mean, have you seen I've seen shades of being a pretty good quarterback. I've seen shades of a guy that could probably be a starter. But if you're talking about a guy that could probably be a starter, he's probably not the guy you're talking about that's going to be able to lead the team to do the things that the Kansas City Chiefs and teams like this are doing. You got to keep in mind that the Chiefs are in their eighth consecutive AFC championship.
Yeah, something like that.
7th straight. Dude, we're not even close. We can't even win a playoff game. Now, if you think that Justin Fields would have made that much of a difference in the playoffs this year, I don't. If you think Justin Fields could have won against Baltimore and then won against Buffalo and then could have then won against Kansas City, I just don't think so. I no disrespect to Justin Fields. But again,
That's
guys,
fair.
5 years in the league, has he really shown anything that makes you think that he is an elite quarterback? I don't think so. Does he have good physical tools? Yeah. Is he athletic? Absolutely. But has he ever looked like the guy that you thought to yourself? I mean, I don't think he has it between the ears. It's not a shot against him. It's just an observation. And things that I wrote from people that really know him in Chicago. So Derpy, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm disagreeing with you in a sense. I think that if you could make this move on the fly, Mike, let me throw a name in front of you. We're going to throw some more names in
Yeah.
front of you guys here shortly. We're going to look at the top 5 positions in the 3 most positions we need needed
Yeah.
positions by the Steelers in the draft. We're going to do that in just a second, Mike and Derpy. But here's one for you. What is this name? Because this is a name that Pittsburghers people right now, I understand Pittsburgh scouts love. And if you've seen these articles the last couple of days, the word is love. They love Jalen Milroe from Alabama. Now, right off the top, I see Derpy's face scrunching up because it's not
I
Ohio
could
State, it's
see it.
Alabama. But tell me,
I
guys,
could
I don't know much
see
about
it,
this Jalen Milroe.
but I don't like it.
But like I said, the Pittsburgh scouts love it. What do they love, Mike? What is it about this guy? What can he do? What does he have that we don't have, and what can he bring to the table? Again, we're going to go over other positions, and the fact that the chances that we even touch a quarterback in this draft is slim to none. But what do you? What is Jalen Milroe? What does that mean to you when I say that name, Mike?
Oh God,
I mean,
another
this is the
fail.
worst Alabama team that we've seen in probably 20 years that lost 3 games this year. This was their quarterback, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's done nothing for me, and my God, like, no, he does nothing for me.
No.
Like the only quarterback I'm taking in this draft to build around would be Cam Ward. Everyone else, you are projects, or you're going to be nice, depth quarterbacks that you get in the 4th, 5th, 6th round that will be your steady backup. That's going to like your Charlie Batch, your weird little quarterback that's your backup quarterback for the next 5, 6 years. That's the guy you're going to get out of this draft outside of Cam Ward. No, Jalen Milroe. No, if they pick him up in the late 3rd round, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. But
Right.
1st round, 2nd round to be your guy going forward, no. No, he's not my guy. And like, is he officially coming out, or is he still? He might opt back to go back into the college. I can't remember what his whole deal is, but I hope he goes back to college so we don't have to talk about Jalen Milroe all off season.
There's plenty more names that we're gonna. I mean, right now, I mean, this is Mike. This is super early.
Oh
This
yeah.
is, this is people trying to get article clicks, things
Oh
like this.
yeah. Oh yeah.
From what I'm
Yeah.
seeing, this is what it says. Pittsburgh
Yeah.
scouts love Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. I'm like, let's take a moment to get caught up on the board.
Yes.
Let's see what we be.
Oh,
Right here. Okay. John, what's up, my man? Good morning to you. John says I've had field maneuvers at minus 70 degrees in Alaska. Wow. Not counting wind chill. We would throw hot coffee in the air and it would freeze dry on the snow. I could tell you stories I can imagine. John then says bad drafting over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Cataball Warrior, he says 3-14 will never appeal to me. Give it 100 and whatever you do. How I was raised. I'll address that in just a minute. Also, Cataball Warrior says, can he read defense? That's yet to be determined. And again, for a guy going, what is he going into his fifth year, 6th year?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you'd like to see a little bit more. Yeah. I think, especially because he was a starter for the first 3 years. If he hadn't started, I say the wiggle room that we're giving him in Pittsburgh would be justifiable. However, he did start for his first 3 years. Came in as a backup. Again, didn't do bad. He's not a bad quarterback. He's not. And that's one thing I don't want to get confused. I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying he's not the guy that you're going to be able to build this team around. You're just not. He's not that guy. I've seen this guy. And that's one thing that I have, Derpy and Mike and some of the viewers that we have. That's kind of a luxury. We lived through a bunch of bullshit already. I mean, you're coming out of the Ben Roethlisberger era in your first era in life without Ben. We've been through the bullshit, and it really sucks. And as it goes from year to year to year to year, you start to get to the point like, come on, let's do something. And that's where I'm at right now. And I think after 8 seasons of not winning a playoff game, I think in general that's where the Steeler fans are at right now. So not only people are people looking for a quick fix, people were just looking for a fix at this point, because again, I think we are at the Cordell Stewart stage, which doesn't leave us too long till we get our great quarterback here in the future. But that's kind of where we're at right now. In my opinion, just the way I through my life and the way I've seen things, that's the way I perceive it. It really feels like, especially next year, we're going to go through the motions. We're going to give this guy a chance. We're going to roughly get the same record we got last year. We're going to get into the playoffs. We're going to play a team that's really good and has a good quarterback, and we're going to lose, and then it's going to start all over. And you got to understand that this goes on and on, and it'll keep going on. and on until they make the move. Guys, I know, winning 3 games next season, and I know a lot of people, Mike used a term to me yesterday that I didn't even think of. He said most people don't have the stomach. Organization or fans don't have the stomach to go through the rebuilding process, but that's going to be what's necessary.
Right.
The team before Ben, they had a losing season. Guys, you can have a losing season. It's okay. Life really goes on if it means you're going to improve. And that's what Mike meant by having a stomach. I mean, we're not winning anyway. We don't have a team that could stand up against one of these elite quarterbacks anyway. Why not go? The thing is, I didn't remember the guy's name, Skylar Thompson. Him or Kyle Allen. Now you're gonna think I sound crazy and stupid, but you run with one of them guys. You win 3 to 6 games. You get a top 10 draft pick. You draft up. You get your Manning boy, because I'm going to tell you what, if you don't get Manning, he's going to win a Super Bowl somewhere else in the league. I promise you eventually. Mike, there's not a Manning that's never been bad at quarterback. I'm just saying this is probably going to be one of the better quarterbacks. And if there's somebody better, then maybe we'll get that person. What I'm saying is, last time there was a Manning in the draft, we ended up lucking out pretty big.
Archie Manning's sperm has won 4 Super Bowls.
He did.
Can his grand sperm win
Mike,
another one? I haven't been impressed with like the little bit I've seen with him at Texas, but give him a year or two, see what he can do. But I want to address something like you said, Ryan. Like, why can't the Pittsburgh have a rebuild like Washington did? And that's where, like John was saying about the bad drafts the past 10 years. We have pieces in place outside of some of these veterans that we're starting to get into place. That's what Washington did. They traded guys. There were some younger guys, but they acquired good draft picks, had a bad year, and were able to get their guy, but they still had pieces in place to go. And Pittsburgh is kind of rebuilding that foundation. We're getting pieces in place to where we can get that guy. That's why I wouldn't be opposed this year to tanking. It works for teams. It works in every sport. That's why a lot of sports leagues like to have a lottery to dissuade teams from tanking. You see, it works in the NBA. It definitely works in hockey, because look at Pittsburgh. Look at Washington. They tanked, got their guys, and they won championships. It's almost working out in Edmonton.
Mike, do me a favor,
why can't it work here for the Steelers?
Make up a poll while we're talking. And I just want to get a general consensus of what people think. Are you okay with a bad season to get your franchise quarterback? Word it some way that people, it's not going to be a long poll, but guys, here's the thing. Archie, listen, I'm going to make a hypothesis. You can make a hypothesis because Archie Manning's uncle's grandfather, they're all great quarterbacks. Say what you want against Eli about him, but you know what? He did win 2 Super Bowls against the GOAT, which we couldn't even get out of the playoffs, out of our side of the bracket. Again, that's going to obviously be one of the top picks next year in 2026. Don't you want to make it special with the draft in Pittsburgh for the first time?
That is true. If
you could land in the top 10 and maybe trade your way up to get him, listen, he's going to be a better. You're going to take a better shot at him going after him than going after a guy that may have had a couple good years in colleges. The bloodline, the work ethic, the genes of the Mannings. Listen, if you take a shot on Arch Manning and it doesn't work, not many people is going to fault you. And you could probably get something in return because of his name if you wanted to, send him down the road eventually. But I just think 3-14. Listen, and I don't think that going out every game and dropping a pass here and running out of bounds when you try to score there is the thing. No, you started your Skylar Thompson. Or I'm just saying, guys. Let me move. Let me continue on here in these messages. John also says coaching and time won't fix Fields, no matter how much some folks hope for him to achieve.
Yeah, he's more or less reached his ceiling, like a lot of these quarterbacks when it comes to their decision making and how fast it takes them to process info. That's why they're bottom tier starters, but top tier.
And that's why nobody else is calling these guys to be their starters either.
Yeah,
I mean that's why we're getting these guys.
Him and Gardner, he's the same as Gardner Minshew at this point. They are what they are. You're gonna get what you get out of them.
Jen, good morning, Jen. Also, Cataball Warrior says, don't care for Milrow. Dart looked decent the one game I saw. Cowboy Warrior also says no first round QB this year. No, this year's not that good. And that's what I'm saying. We could really take advantage, guys. Nobody wants to have a losing season. But check out, Mike did put a poll up on the board asking, I don't know exactly what he wrote because I didn't check it out yet. Mike, what did you, what's the poll?
I asked, are you willing to have a losing season to get a top 10 QB?
All right, yeah, there you go, guys. Vote in that. I just want to get the general consensus because, again, I think that it might be the smart thing to do for this team, but people disagree, and that's cool. Let's see. Phil the
Yeah.
Steel says, cheers to the Munzers. Don't even tell Mike the Steel Ryan. He's been playing ping pong. Let's see. John, next year, this time, they will hire another offensive coordinator. Let's hope it's a great pick, and they let him find his QB to fit his system. Phil also says, let's just be fans and F it. Let's see what's coming. But when I go to Heinz Field in 2025, I'm yelling it no matter what. If I start a brawl, fire Tomlin, fire Tomlin, fire Tomlin. I think you might get some followers with you there. John also says we just have to get into the playoffs and anything could happen is BS. I agree 100%. No QB equals no ring. We could do this to our blue in the face. Again, if you live through the pre-Ben era, this makes a lot of sense to you because they just tried to add Tommy, Tommy Gunn got in there and he did some good things. He threw the ball around. He got 3,000 yards. But at the end of the day, you gotta. It's an X factor, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. John, the Manning family will decide where Arch goes. It will be a team with the right conditions for him. The Steelers will have to build it for him to come.
That's a good point.
P, what's up, my man? He says Washington tanked for the better part of 3 decades, though.
Well, was that tanking or like inept ownership from Dan Snyder?
Phil says if you're talking about tanking, got to be sure there are good QBs coming up for that draft. That draft is going to be much stronger. 26 is going to be a lot stronger than this draft, which again is why I'm going with this narrative that I'm going with today. Mark Malone, what's up, my man? He says I draft 2 QBs, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers this year, and draft 2 more next year. Also, Mark Malone says Jesus jumped up, crazed derpy. Seriously, what kind of motherfucker would deal with
masochistic motherfucker?
That is awesome. Yeah, derpy. That is very true. Nobody would have ever dealt with their smoke alarm as long as you have. I really, really respect the
it's just
fight
giving their opinion every time. So,
and the perseverance that you have. Cannibal Warrior says trading up would be better. Lamar was 30. Brady was 6th round. Russ 3rd. Mr. Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant is possible. Anywhere, if you find your guy, go get him. You know what? But these guys are freaks of nature. I mean,
like Brady and Russ, those outliers to win Super Bowls that late in the draft, getting a quarterback.
And even Purdy with getting up in the NFC Championship his rookie year. It's very, these guys are almost impossible to find at that point.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody knew Lamar Jackson. You knew that when you seen him in Louisville. Certainly, being a Pitt fan, I had my share of him, and I didn't really, I didn't look forward to what we were going to be seeing in the future when he played at Pitt. Of course, it worked out a little bit better since he's been in the pros. But yeah, you don't know. But guys, I'm telling you, and again, it's going to be a lot of things have to happen to get a guy like Archie Manning. But again, last time Manning was in the draft, we had our eye on Eli Manning. We said, we want this guy. This is a Manning. This is Peyton Manning's brother. His dad was Archie Manning. And people in Pittsburgh were so pissed off that we didn't get Manning. And, they had the Giants and the Chargers and the trade and all this was happening. And we get this cheeseburger guy from Western Ohio. And we were pissed. And look how that turned out. He ended up being the best out of all of them. So, again, there is no direct cut answer. But at the end of the day, again, if you're taking a Manning in the draft and he's a quarterback, I like your chances. Again, if you're banking on Justin Fields being the guy, I certainly think that trust putting your faith in somebody like a Manning. I think a Manning woman may even represent your team better as a quarterback than some other quarterbacks may. But again, that's just me. Let's see. Phil says, "Screw that! I'm sending Dexter to take care of that darn smoke alarm." John says that
their opinion. That's all.
The derp chirp is like waterboarding. And also, Mark Malone says, you'd think he just lift one up of his midgets to change it.
You would think.
We get Peaches or Fanny. I mean, come on.
Well, one of the
team
3
effort
options. Here. Yeah, come on there. Well, yeah, I'm just like looking at next year's draft class, and I'm just salivating at the talent that you can get in the. There's going to be at least four or five quarterbacks going in the first round next year. That and I think 3 of them
Maybe.
have legit chances to start as rookies this year. I think Cam Ward might be the only one that I would trust to start as a rookie right now. Everyone else, I'm looking second and third round. But yeah, but there's still going to be at least 2 or 3 quarterbacks going in the first round this year that they're going to get overdrafted, which is what I hope happens, so we can get the talent that we need. Get a talented receiver, get a talented defensive lineman in the draft. That would be a nice change of pace to go that route. Get beef on the D line, which is what we need, and get building blocks in place for when you get your quarterback, either the draft or via free agency.
Guys, let's move on. We talked about this rebuilding, the total teardown, the tanking, the rebuilding. Let's move on, Mike. The Steelers won't have any compensatory picks in the 2025 draft. The Ravens do get one for the Patrick Queen. Mike, explain to people, because I don't know if people entirely understand what
Mhm.
is the compensatory pick and why do
Yeah.
some teams get them and some teams don't.
It's for like the value added and lost via free agency. Like if you lose a ton of good free agents that go to other teams and play well, and it's like the count of amount of money they get paid, I think is in that formula as well. It's a weird formula. Then if you add your own free agents and they perform well too, that's going to lower what you get in draft value. But since we went out and did a lot in free agency, we really didn't lose any big names in free agency. We're getting none. Whereas the Ravens, I don't know how they got Derrick Henry in free agency and they lose Patrick Queen. I don't know how they get a compensatory pick. You think that would
I
wash out?
think they would have had more of a gain by getting Henry than we would have by
Yeah,
having Queen.
unless they lost to some more people via free agency. I don't know their whole thing, but yeah, it's about who you sign, who you lose, and that's in the formula. There's some other things in there. It's pretty like they don't release the exact formula. How you figure out this, a lot of it is conjecture, and you just find out when you find out. But yeah, Pittsburgh, unfortunately, we didn't get any. I have a feeling, you know. Yeah, coming into next year's draft, we might get a couple depending on who we're losing. Like I can see James Daniels fetching us a compensatory pick when he signs elsewhere. Probably even Najee can gain us a compensatory pick signing elsewhere. But knowing Pittsburgh and the NFL, we won't get the coveted third round compensatory picks. We'll get like the fifth, sixth round compensatory picks, like always.
So there you go, guys. That is a brief explanation of the compensatory pick. I also do want to say congratulations to Miles Killebrew, our special team
Yes.
specialist. He's added to the Pro Bowl roster, replacing the Patriots' Brendan Schooler. So Miles Killebrew will be involved in the Pro Bowl games next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend when all the guys get together to do that. I believe it's in Florida. I'm not sure if they're doing it there again this year, but that's where it was in Orlando. So congratulations to Miles Killebrew joining some of his teammates in the Pro Bowl games. It's going to be cool to see just another Steeler helmet when you watch the games. It's always nice to see some of the extra Steeler helmets running around out there. That's always fun. Speaking of an accomplishment, guys, here's one for you as well. Some Steelers cred, guys, from 2012 to 2018. From 2012 to 2018, J.J. Watt recorded the most sacks in the NFL with 86 and a half.
I
From
seen this.
2012 to 2018, J.J. Watt recorded the most sacks in the NFL, 86 and a half. Now that's all the way up to 18. From 2019 to 2024, T.J. Watt recorded the most sacks in the NFL with 88. From 2019 to 2024, TJ Watt recorded the most sacks. So from 2012 to this year, the last 12 years, nobody has recorded more sacks than either one of them two brothers. And they combined for a total of like 170 some sacks. Mike, is he worth now? We went on about Minka the other day. We talked a little bit about DeMar Hamlin, how you could pretty much fill somebody in his spot. We might be okay. What do you think about TJ Watt? Now, of course, this guy Phil loves him, and most people do, and he's very productive. And he got 88 sacks, and he's nobody has more from 2019 to 2024. But at the end of the day, you have argument that he is a one-trick pony, and a lot of times on the run, we get taken advantage of because he takes himself into a blitz first, get the quarterback mentality, which sometimes works against us in the run game. Mike, where are you at with TJ Watt?
Mm.
He's 30.
I like TJ Watt. Yeah, I think he's a damn great player,
And at
damn
his age
great
as
at
well.
what he does. But his age, he's going to be what, 29, 30?
30.
He's 30 right now. No, he's on the downside of his career. Like I've said before, and I will always
I mean,
say,
you give up all those sacks. I mean, isn't there a way to fix this without getting rid of the guy? It's, just there's got to be a way, right?
you either with him, I either let him play out his contract and let him walk away, and I'm fine with that because Franco Harris, who won 4 fucking Super Bowls and a Super Bowl MVP, retired a Seattle Seahawk. Anyone on the Steeler team can retire anywhere else. Then okay, so it would be awesome as a fan to watch him retire a Steeler, but if it's better for the team, let him go or trade him to get something to
Exactly.
build the team. I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to win a Super Bowl more than I want TJ Watt to win a Super Bowl. If it takes
Right.
us trading him to get it, do it. But the production, he's 11 and a half sacks this year. Can he maintain that pace this year, this upcoming year? And if they extend him for another 2-3 years, will he be able to keep that pace up? Looking like no, he is on the downside of his career because he's played balls to the wall for what? How many years has he been in the league now? He's played balls to the wall
7.
every single year, and his body has taken a beating. And can he continue to do it over the rest of the contract here? No, it doesn't look like it. So you have to move on from him. It sucks. It sucks to hear. It sucks to say, but that's the reality of the situation, and you have to move on from him. I would move on from him. I would see what I can get for him. Teams would be like, yeah, we're TJ Watt away from going to the Super Bowl. Guess what? Pittsburgh, we're more than TJ Watt than go away from going to the Super Bowl. We're more than a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. Trade him. It's gonna suck. But you sell it to the fans of, hey, guess what? We have to do this to make the team better to win in the long run. The Pittsburgh Penguins traded Yarmer Yager, and Yarmer Yager was a better in his field than TJ Watt is in his field.
Mike,
you have to do it.
P says TJ making QB1 money, and you know what? That's true. QB1,
That's true.
QB1 touches the ball every single play and makes things happen and wins football games and decides how things are going to go. In TJ Watt gives you 11 sacks, 11 and a half sacks this year.
He has made plays that have won games, but like you said, a quarterback touches
But
it more.
if you had a quarterback, he's going to win you more than those couple extra games.
Yeah.
On the board right now, guys, we do have the poll up. Are you willing to have a bad season to get a top quarterback? I'm like 57 so far. 57% said yes. 43 so far says no. The poll is up, guys. Do chime in and give your opinion on that. A lot of things, guys. A lot of things need to be changed around here. And there's our friend over enthusiastic.
I love it. His comment is great.
He says we are riding TJ Watt is taking reps at QB1. Mike Tomlin is running the West Coast offense. We are riding, living in denial. Sometimes we are riding. You know what? That's another thing, Mike. The living in the fears thing. The one thing that Tomlin always says, living in the fears. It's funny because a lot of things that we won't do through the course of a game because he doesn't feel that we're
you don't trust the offense or you don't trust the defense.
So we are, in fact, living in our fears. We have a mess here in Pittsburgh, and people are finally starting to realize it, and they're finally starting to realize it's not just going to take a Band-Aid to fix this and get back to where the promised land that we were at one time many years ago. But, guys, we're doing everything we can right here on the show to try to figure these answers out. Mike, let me pull up the top. These are going to be your top 5 at every position. We're just going to talk about the quarterback today. We're going to talk about the running back. And we're going to talk about the receivers. This is apparently this is the top 5 at those 3 positions. We'll talk about them, see what you think, and who you think that we might be taking a look at, who we might be getting this year. If only I could find it. I'll pull it up and we will take a look in just a moment. But what are you feeling right now? Are you thinking that we're looking at a wide receiver, maybe first round, Mike? Are you thinking? I don't think it's going to be a running back.
I don't think it's going to be a running back. If we get running back, it's going to be in that 3rd round area, maybe second round. I wouldn't be opposed to one in the second round, but I can see in the 3rd round getting a running back. That's usually you can find quality starting running backs up and down the draft. This is how dynamic they're going to be. My first 2 rounds, mine are wide receiver, D line, cornerback. Those are my big three areas
All
because
right.
I don't.
What about
Yeah, those are
safety?
my big three.
All right, so I do have the list here,
All
Mike.
right.
All right, so according to, and again, you're going to get 15 different opinions from
Oh,
15 different people.
exactly.
This is from footballguys.com. These are your positional rookie rankings. We're going to look at the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receivers. Mike, we're going to take a look and see what we think about these people. Derpy, everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here we go. At the quarterback position, listed number 1 on this particular list is Cam Ward. Cam Ward out of Ohio. Or out of Miami, I'm sorry, is projected to be the best quarterback coming out of the draft this year. I think we've heard Mike say that multiple times
Mm-hmm.
right here on the show. Number 2, Shador Sanders coming out of Colorado. Is this guy going to be the real deal? You know what I mean? It's kind of an interesting situation. I would
Yeah.
like to see him play in a stronger conference, maybe to get a look at him against some better competition. But word on the street is he's pretty good. Number 3, Jackson Dart, who was mentioned on the board. Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss.
He's a guy that
What's that, Derpy?
He's a guy that I like, but like we'll see how it goes.
All right. Number 4 on this list, Jalen Milroe. We spoke about him earlier out of Alabama. And finally, Quinn Ewers out of University of Texas. Mike, Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers. I don't see the Steelers doing any kind of move to make any move to get any of these 5 guys. But which one of these 5 do you see being most ready to compete in the NFL if they had to come up and start and going to bad teams, which most of these players will? Which one of these guys are most pro ready at this time, do you think?
For what I've seen and what I've seen from breakdowns from ex quarterbacks, right now it's leaning towards Cam Ward is the guy. I saw Jackson Dart also getting some mention of to where not pro ready, but he's an intriguing guy. But right now the early consensus is Cam Ward being the guy that you can almost certainly plug and play. And there's a lot of chatter that Tennessee and even internally from Tennessee, unnamed sources in Tennessee saying he's their guy already. And they haven't even started the whole process yet.
Poor Cam Ward.
I know, right?
Right.
Rip.
So let's go over to the running backs, guys. Because again, I don't think we're going to go after a quarterback this year. I just don't. And I don't think we should either. I think that we kind of laid it out how I feel that it should go earlier. Yeah. But let's take a look at the running backs, Mike. This is your 1 through 5 running backs. Your running backs are, of course, Ashton Genty from Boise, Marion Hampton out of North Carolina, two running backs out of Ohio State, Derpy, that Judkins, and also Travion Henderson. And then finally out of OSU, Oklahoma State is Ollie Gordon the second.
Oh,
wow. What about the ASU running back?
He's not on here. But again, like I said, I could pull up a different list, and I'm sure.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I'm looking at one right now. It has those 3 or those 5 plus like 2 others: Caleb Johnson from Iowa and Scabadoo from Arizona State. Like Ryan's saying, right now there's, all 5 of those guys are more or less in the same category.
Mike, does any one of these guys, and again, I'm sure guys will be gone by the time they get to us, but would any one of these guys, would you be satisfied being in our backfield next year? Again, you make the jump to the pros, you hope that it goes well.
Yeah.
But who do you like the best on this list of these 5? And I think the easy answer for most people would be that Ashton Genty, but there's some good names on here.
I think he's going to Dallas.
I out of those 5 that you named, Judkins from Ohio State, just because like what he also did his first 2 years at Ole Miss, he was productive there. Then he came to Ohio State where they split carries, so his numbers went down, his carries went down, his yards went down, but average went up a little bit. Had 12 touchdowns last year, 15 the year before, 16 his freshman year. So the production's there everywhere he's been. Right now, he's my guy. Him or the one you didn't name, the guy from Iowa, Johnson, I think is his name. I always forget his name. But Caleb Johnson from Iowa wasn't listed. But yeah, the ones you listed would be Judkins. I like him the most.
Derpy. If you say anybody besides Ohio State, I swear to God, it'll make my week. Come on. Who do you like on this list?
The ASU running back.
It wasn't on the list.
It wasn't on the list. Scabadoo, yeah.
All right, let's go over to the wide receiver position. These are your top 5 wide receivers on this list. Out of Arizona, Tatariola McMillan. They have him marked as the best receiver in the country going into the draft.
That would be such a great marketing name.
Out of, I believe this is Missouri, Luther Burden III.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Number 3 out of Colorado, Travis Hunter.
He's going 3 or 2.
Number 4, Agbuka from Ohio State. And finally, number 5, the out of Texas, Isaiah Bond. Now, mind you, these are the 15 best skill position players in the draft according to this list.
Yeah.
Now we're 21. People are
Mhm.
going to take defensive guys. People are going
Yep.
to take surprise guys. I mean, there's
Mhm.
legitimately a shot for us to get a top 5 player at one
Yeah.
of these 3 positions if we play our cards right, especially if we hold picks in our pocket to, move up a pick or two. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not out of the question, guys, to get a game-changing guy. There's going to be, I think, some available at 21, Mike. Let me ask you about these wide receivers. Anybody in this wide receiver crew feel like a perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers to you?
The perfect fit. I know you're going to hate me saying it's um, the receiver from Ohio State. I think he would complement George Pickens really well. This guy can play inside, outside, and wherever you need him. It's just solid pass catcher too. I was watching some highlights of him. Catches with his hand, catches with his body when it's appropriate. Always turns his body back to the quarterback, giving him the area. He can play. He knows how to settle down into the zone. He can make plays after the catch. He would be my number 1. Number 2, not far behind, would be Luther Burden. I liked what I saw out of him. Missouri, they weren't playing the best, but watch him play. You can see the talent jump off the film, and his feel for the game too was jumping off the film. Those would be my 2 because I think both of those guys will be available or real close to where you can trade up and I have to give up a small pick next year to get your guy. Those would be my 2. Luther Burden and the receiver from Ohio State. I'm tired of butchering his name.
Derpy?
You already know who I'm going to choose.
Derby's just going by vibes and uniforms and where they went to
Emeka.
college.
That's my sexy pick.
All right, guys. We did talk about if the Commanders are 2-0 in the playoffs on the road this year, while all other teams are 0-8 in the playoffs. There's something about this Commanders team, guys, and again, they could become the third team to beat the 1, 2, 3 seed as the number 6 in the entire history. Of course, only behind the Steelers and the Packers. Here's another some oddities about the last week's playoff games and the divisional rounds, guys. The 4 games. Let me just throw it to you like this: the Texans played the Chiefs. The Texans had more yards. The Chiefs won. The Lions played Washington. The Lions had more yards. Washington won. LA played the Philadelphia Eagles. LA had more yards. Philadelphia won. And finally, Buffalo and Baltimore played. Baltimore had more yards in this game, and Baltimore won. I'm like, this year is very
Buffalo.
bizarre in its numbers. For me, going back to the not scoring more than 30 points for the Chiefs,
Yeah.
all season long, and they're the best team. To some of these other numbers we've been talking about, it's been a very interesting year for numbers. And I'm a numbers guy, so I mean, this is every time I turn around, it's a bizarre number situation for the NFL this year.
Dude, and the stats that you just read, where every team that was outgained won. Art Rooney is rubbing his nipples here and that, going, we are building the team the right way. We're just going to double and triple down on what we're doing because this is happening right now. He's tweaking them, baby, looking at those highlights.
He's loving it.
He's loving it, man.
Mike, this is something that I came across. What would happen if each of the 4 remaining teams won a Super Bowl? If the Chiefs won, Patrick Mahomes enters serious GOAT debates.
Yeah.
Of course, he's in his 7th straight AFC Championship game. He's winning Super Bowls at a faster rate than Tom Brady did. So he does, of course, enter if that be the case. If the Buffalo Bills win, Josh Allen officially ascends past Lamar and Burrow. He passes Lamar and Burrow if he wins the Super Bowl. If Jaden Daniels wins, if Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders win, Jaden Daniels is immortalized for the best rookie season ever.
By far. I think even if they make it to the Super Bowl, he surpasses what Big Ben did.
And finally, if the Eagles won, this is kind of funny. We'd probably we'd probably quickly move on with our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? I would celebrate Saquon and Jahan Dodson, my Penn State guys, winning their Super Bowl. But outside of that, I would just move right on. I
See,
would
again with
not
these
acknowledge
college
it.
teams, why does it? I don't understand why this is so much to you guys about these
And
college
just because they
players.
went to where they went to college, I
Who
support those
cares?
guys
There's
wherever
guys
they
who went to
go.
colleges that you don't like on your team too. What's the difference?
I
You know,
support those guys more, the ones that are on my team, pro team. But when they're not on my pro team and they're not affecting my team, I root for them.
it's a
Like
weird
when
thing.
when
I've
we
never met people
That's
that did
weird.
this as much as you two. I've
like you didn't root for Aaron Donald to win that Super Bowl.
no, I didn't.
Oh, you're a bad Pitt fan.
See,
That was a trigger you.
I'm a Steeler fan. I don't care about
I'm
that
a
shit.
Steeler fan too, but I like to see my guys that come from college that I watch for 3-4
I mean,
years.
why? I do
Do
too,
some
but it's
good
not a
stuff.
big thing to me. If it happens, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. John says, "What running backs fits their blocking scheme?" Those are the ones for me. Phil says, "Get the ASU running back and that wide receiver if available." Mark Malone says he's the dude if they want to run wide zone. Like, okay, he was talking about these guys we were talking about. Let me catch up on some. All right. What's up, Corey Beavers? Corey Beavers says, "Hey guys, do you anticipate a Russ return, or do you have more confidence that we extend Fields?" I don't see a Russ return. I think we've seen enough from Russ, to be honest with you. I think they
Mhm.
do go with Fields, unfortunately. But again, he's kicking the can down the road for me. We're gonna go through the motions. We're gonna walk through the motions like we do with everything else. We're gonna have another season like we had. And if you really feel that just putting Justin Fields in that position is going to do something great and make something happen that didn't happen this year, again, Justin Fields is going to have to go up against one of these elite teams in the playoffs eventually.
Yeah.
It to me again, I think we are. I think they're going to go through the motions. I really do believe that. But again, at the end of the day, I hope maybe just maybe it benefits us some way, Mike. It's got to benefit us some way. I don't know any other answer. It seems like they're happy with what they have. They're happy with
Yeah.
making the money. And the thing is, guess what? If you don't like it and they go to the playoffs for the next 10 years and lose or they don't win, they're still going to do what they do because you're putting your butts in the seats. You're
Yep.
watching the show and you're wearing the jersey. So at the end of the day, what can you really do? Because you're a fan, you want to see the team win, but it might take some overhauling. It might take, as Mike said, do you have the stomach? And that's what it comes back to for me, guys. Do you have the spine? Do you have the stomach? Do you have the gall, if you will, to take a bad season? Again, a bad season. We as Pittsburgh fans, this is where we're at. We can't grasp the idea of having a bad season to upgrade to an elite type quarterback, possibly. That blows my mind. Again,
Mhm.
I lived through many bad seasons. I don't know. This is probably why it doesn't seem like much to me. But guys, again, I can't believe that fans are against having a bad season to improve the team. The poll right now, it's up, guys. Do not forget to vote on the poll. Right now, 60% said they are willing to have a bad season to get a top QB. 40% are saying no. No, they are not willing. Jim Rooney told us, Jim Rooney told us to shut up and Keller, and that's it. And that's what's going to happen at the end of the day because, Fields will be quarterback next year. Derpy will be happy, and we will be having the same conversation next year. I'm not insulting Derpy. I'm not bad mouthing him. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. As we told you last year is going to happen. As we told you the year before is going to happen. And we are still in the same position. And guess what? It will happen again next year. If we don't do something about it, it's not going to fix itself. The situation, you might as well make a bang at the draft in Pittsburgh in 2026 and just make a splash. Go after, do whatever you got to do to get the Manning kid, whatever you got to do to get anybody that's going to be that quarterback. Is Fields a good kick the can down the road quarterback? He's the perfect kick
Oh
the
yeah.
can because he's going to make plays. The kid's athletic. The guy is again, he's a fifth-year pro. He started for 3 years in Chicago. He's a perfect kick the can down the road quarterback. He will be a kick the can down the road quarterback. And again, until we make legitimately smart moves to fix things, it's going to be more of the same as it's been for the past 7 years, 8 years,
Mhm.
whatever it's been. Guys, I hope that they do the right thing and make these moves to make something happen. Otherwise, again, we could be happy with 500 ball and a playoff loss, one and done for years. We are set up for that. But I don't
Yeah.
think we're happy with that, are we, guys?
No, I'm not. But I'm willing to take. I don't know. I'm willing to sit through losing seasons to make the team better. You know, you have to
Again,
do what
we
you
haven't
have to
had a
do.
losing season in over 2 decades. Come on, we can't
Yeah.
take a losing season to get your Ben Roethlisberger.
We're stuck in draft in purgatory. You know,
We are in
you're
purgatory.
yeah. You know, you finish middle, draft middle, stay middle. That's just where it's at.
Yinzer, no, Yinzer Joe, no, just no,
What do you
just
say?
no,
Oh yes, yeah. Well, yeah.
just no,
Russ.
Mike,
Yeah, Russ
just
saying
no.
on the McAfee show that
Mike, we got
that talks are underway. There's preliminary talks.
all
We'll
right. We got
see.
like 10 messages before that. Let me get through some of these first, guys.
Yeah.
Mark Malone says we got to get the offense going, man. The whole scoring no points thing. Come on, guys, you got to do something to improve these things that's been wrong for
Yeah.
8 years. The whole scoring no points thing has been going on since Haley left, and I'm going effing insane. It's to the point where I turn the game off at halftime. Also, Mark says I never done that. I feel that I really do. P says go Birds for the Always Sunny and Abbott elementary episodes that will happen.
That's a
Corey
good one,
Beaver
P.
says it wouldn't be hard to get a top 10 quarterback if we would try and trade up in the draft. Also, Mark Mullen says, for God's sakes, if you've watched Fincher Canada, how can a bad season be any worse?
Exactly.
John says CB cornerback Bush was a 10 overall. Yinzer Joe says Rush says on the McAfee show that negotiations are underway. Oh fuck. Please don't.
No, I think it was more along like talks are underway. Like they started conversations.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
I know they had their their end of the year conversations with every player. Hey, what are you looking for? Blah blah blah.
Mark says even if we draft high, it's unlikely we'll get luck drafting a QB. P says Carolina coming up on their 4th bad season after blowing up the team and shipping McCaffrey out west. And Phil says, F it, I'm saying it. New coach, darn it. Well, the thing about this team, guys, they have a good base level organization as far as Carolina building from bottom to top, bottom. It's more difficult. They're just not a good franchise. They're not a good.
Yeah.
They make their money. They put butts in seats most of the time. I think one time over the past couple years they had 17 fans in their stadium.
Yeah.
People were finally expressing themselves over there. But I think we have a better base organization. If we bring in somebody who's a really good quarterback, I think it's going to be easier to build opposed to a Carolina who's just generally bad,
Yeah.
and you don't know if you're looking up or down is up or bottom is. You just don't know. Where the Steelers, I think you could get a guy a couple pieces away and you'll be right back in it, guys. We are just in that middle of the road purgatory. I think a couple right moves get us right back in this, guys. The votes at this time are 55 to 45 in the favor of yes, they're willing to have a bad season to get a top quarterback. Mike, let me move on here a little bit
Yeah.
as the show is going on. I do want to say that Mark Andrews. Okay, so Mark Andrews, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers MVP this year. Really great seeing him lose the game for the Baltimore Ravens last week, knocking them out of the playoffs. But Mike, there was tons of death threats, tons of emails, phone calls, people threatening the life of the life of this man because he did not catch a football. The Bills Mafia, they raised over $40,000 for the Ravens tight ends charity of choice after he dropped the the game-winning tying pass. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
in the game last weekend. Mike, good for Bills Mafia,
Yeah,
or bad for Ravens fans, or both?
Both.
both.
Both. Both. Bills Mafia, they always do stuff like that. They're nuts. They're wild. They are a city of losers because they haven't won a Super Bowl. But they do stuff like this all the time. And, they're one of the few, maybe even only fan bases that will do this. See what happened to a team, a player that, they just beat, something bad happens, and they go, okay, they find out what charity they're most involved with, and they go flooding that charity to pick up their spirits. And it's a good thing. That's what you should be doing in sports, not calling in death threats on one of your players because they dropped a fucking football.
And here's the report on that. Mark Andrews' girlfriend, Alina Yates, had to shut off social media comments after the fans brutally attacked her and Andrews over his game-losing catch. Over 1,000 people brutally commented under Mark's recent IG post.
Oof.
Many death threats and evil comments were included. Yeah, the thing is, I mean, I get it. I get it. We did that with Tommy Maddox, and you know what? I don't listen. I don't doubt that we wouldn't do it again. But just as what it is, and it's happening right now in front of us, it is terrible. You hate to see it. The guy's, it's a game. The guy's a person. Again, I'm glad that the Bills fans helped soften the blow a little bit, but still, you don't want to see it. But these are the things that you have when you have a passionate fan base. I don't say that. I can't say that I don't understand, Mike. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't
do it. But like, my God, how crazy do you have to be to actually type that out?
Yeah.
Or write it out, because people are still probably snail mailing messages to these people. Like, just to do that, my God, you figure as you're typing away, you're angry, you stop and you look at it and go, okay, that's too far. You're gonna delete that shit. But to be actually sending it, adds just a whole, fucking crazy.
4 Chilean burglary suspects arrested tied to the break-in at Joe Burrow's home. At least they're catching some of these people. You're seeing a lot of these high-profile people, especially athletes, getting their homes broken into while they're playing. It just happened to Geno Malkin. I think it happened to Malkin because they found the rings in the home. I don't even know what to make of that situation. Somebody broke in, stole your Stanley Cup rings. 3 days later, you find the rings in your home. So does that mean the house wasn't burglarized? I still don't get what they're doing. But again, they do have four suspects under arrest in the Joe Burrow break-ins as we speak. So
I want to know who the ringleader was. That looks like we're farming this job out.
Yeah. Just crazy, man. And the one, it wasn't Burrow. He was the one that had somebody babysitting his house too. So how did this? I would love to see the video and be a fly in the wall in this house while this is all going on. Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels. Get this. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Them boys. It's always their year.
Always their year.
The NFC Championship game between Hurts and Jaden Daniels. Both of these quarterbacks were born. They grew up, had a childhood, went to high school, went to college, became pro athletes, and still made it back to the NFC Championship game before the Dallas Cowboys.
That's what I like to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you ever get in a fight with a Cowboy fan, come on.
Right? And, my God, Jalen Hurts is like 90 years old, it feels like. I don't know, it feels like we've been talking about Jalen Hurts forever around here.
Yeah, I know it does. Let's see.
He's only 26, though. My God.
I know. I just read yesterday he was 25. He might just turn 26. Let's see. Let's get back to a couple of these. A couple of the comments here on the board, Mike. Let's see. We're gonna go right above where we're gonna start above. Let's start on Yinzer Joe. This draft doesn't really have any high QB prospects. John says the Steelers are the Washington Generals now. The Washington Generals. P says the Steelers are the 90s Indiana Pacers. But you know what? The Pacers made it to the conference championship every year.
The Steelers are the 80s Steelers right now.
We're the 80s Steelers with the Cordell Stewart at quarterback. Let's see. P also says need an audit of Andrews' financials. He had a bad game. John says Andrews made plays before the 2-point miss. BS. Corey Beavers. That's pathetic. These players are human. They don't owe us shit. And you're absolutely right. Nobody hates him more than he does. Leave the guy alone. P says he got the yips on the 2-point play. Unfortunately, that ball bounced off his hands into his chest. It wasn't the most perfect pass in the world, but if you see one of the shots, for one of your pro guy that catches a football for a living for millions of dollars, you should catch that. For two, it ended up right in his chest, as said here in this message. You know what? In this comment, I'm sorry. You know what? It was in his chest. I mean, beyond that, bro, you got to catch the ball. D'Angelo Joe says the ringleader was Derpy.
I think so. I think him and Peaches and whoever the other aunt is.
Fanny.
Fanny. I forget about Fanny. She just popped up out of nowhere one day.
I want to say welcome to Keller Haas. This looks like one of Derpy's people. He says, "What up, Derpy?" From Paul from the Wombo Combo. Also, John
What's up, Paul?
says Andreas Escobar was killed for scoring a
Mm,
soccer goal, and I was gonna
remember
mention
that.
that
I
actually.
remember that. Yeah.
You know, in other countries, they just line you up and shoot you if you have a bad game. Certainly in the Middle East, I've seen this happen in soccer and things like this. Um, P says Instagram model security of the world, Craig.
Right. Yeah, that was Joe Burrow security.
Yeah. Let's see. That documentary is rough. P said, and in the '80s, Steelers was Mark Malone, Merrill Hodge era. Absolutely, and the #1 overall draft pick, Tim Worley, who was on our show earlier.
Yes, he
Last
was.
year. I mean, you could also find that episode in our archives. You know what? He was a lot of fun, Mike, talking about
Oh my God.
talking about
That
Mark
team
Malone and
in
Merrill
that era.
Hodge and Louis Lips, and
Oh,
seeing from the
oh yeah.
inside because these was the guys I grew up with, and
Hmm.
it would be
And
the
it just
equivalent of Derpy going through good times as a kid with the Steelers. It's
yeah,
like the total opposite whenever I was his age.
exactly. Yeah, if you haven't seen that episode, I can't remember the episode number, but scroll back through, find that one. He was awesome, man. He just the stories he told, man, were great, man. And some of the stuff like we thought, okay, we're not going to ask him about this, and he just brought up these, what happened, about the downfall of his career. He brought it up all on his own, man, and just open and honest. A great interview. Go check it out.
Tim Worley, guys, #1 draft pick in 1989 out of Georgia. He wore number
Yes.
38 for the Steelers. He was a running back. Really good, ran into some issues, like a lot of people do in life.
That and the knee injury too didn't help at all.
You know, so guys, let me get into a couple other things. Guys, we got to do our picks. We're going to do that real shortly. Let me touch up on these other few sports Pittsburgh news I do have here. The Penguins back in action tonight. The Penguins are at Anaheim. They're smack dab in the middle of their 7-game road trip. They're out in Anaheim trying to get a win tonight. That game's at 10 o'clock p.m. in Southern California. The Penguins are 20-21-8 at this moment, Mike. 2 years removed from the playoffs. Again, sitting at 20-21-8 this year. Hopefully they can take advantage of the 18-23-6 Ducks to get back in the race. Maybe sneak back into the playoffs this year. Who knows? Pittsburgh Pirates, also California. An 11-year-old kid finds that one Paul Skeens baseball card, one of one. No other ones exist. It's autographed. The Pittsburgh Pirates are offering 30 years of seats right behind home plate for this card. Kid, get your card. Put it in a box or something in a secured location. Don't give that thing to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm telling you, listen, they're trying to rip you off, and that's what another thing that pisses me off about these Pirates. Not that they don't rip us off every year with the BS they put on that field. Now they're trying to rip this poor kid off. We'll let you sit behind home plate for a team that's terrible for the next 3 decades if you let us have this card. This card may be generational wealth. Come on, guys. Paul Skeens is going to be something of huge if he's not already, guys. They're trying to get him. They want him to get 30 years behind home plate. They want to give him a jersey. They want to give him this. They want to get it's bull crap. They're trying to rip this 11-year-old kid off. Kid, lock your card up.
Keep the card.
Get 7 more years. Turn 18 and make your decision. You know, maybe sell the card. Whatever it is, whatever that card is going to be worth, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and exactly 30 years of Pirates.
$40.
That's $40.
Well, the thing is that you said he's what, from California? What's he gonna do with fucking pirate tickets?
Exactly. And
I'm
one,
holding on to that
says,
card.
this is baseball for one. Who cares? For two, it's the Pirates. For three, you're definitely being screwed because look what 30 years of Pirate tickets has to be worth about $40. I mean, seriously, come on. They are trying to rip this kid off. Kid, run. Don't stop. Don't look back.
Put that card, because Paul Skeens one day is going to end up in the Hall of Fame. That card is going to be worth a shit ton of money.
Mike, they're going to trade him for that card, and then they're going to trade him away.
Yeah. And like I saw a tweet.
Pirate tickets, but you're not even going to be able to see Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. Someone was like, the Pirates are about to pay this 11-year-old more than they are Paul Skeens. And it's true.
What a bunch of losers, that organization. Over enthusiastic in there. Caleb says P. Nutting has to make his money somewhere. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Fucker. So that is the other stuff going on around the Berg here. Guys, let's get ready to knock these picks out. Mike, Derpy, There's only two games this weekend. They're both on Sunday, and after that, there's only going to be a Pro Bowl event. We could call that now, and then the following weekend we will have the Super Bowl. Mike Derpy, right now we're Derpy's jockeying for position. He won the Permanis brothers sandwiches for the picks. But Mike, you still have a couple picks here this week, Super Bowl.
Yes, I do.
So let's try to shrink Derpy's margin, if you will, so he gets less. That is your goal. Your goal is to screw Derpy by beating him and having him get less per Manny Brothers. When Derpy, your goal is to try to get more, because again, you won. Now it's just we're trying to figure out how much you won. Mike Derpy, here we go, guys. Let's do this week's picks. It's only 2 games. It's going to be short, sweet. We're going to get your tiebreakers, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles, they are hosting the Washington Commanders. These two teams played each other twice already. They're playing for a third time this season. They're division foes, a lot like the Steelers and the Ravens. Not many people know these teams better than each other, playing each other 2 times every year for the past a billion years. So again, somebody might say, you know what, the Ravens are better than the Steelers, but the Steelers beat them 8 of the last 9 times prior to these past couple games. So when you play teams in the division, things happen. Guys, I'm going to start with Derpy. You won. Do you want to pick first, or do you want to defer?
I'm going to kick the ball.
All right, Mike. So I'm going to start with you first. This game is in Philadelphia County, southeastern Pennsylvania. Who do you like in the Philadelphia, Washington Redskins, if you will, game this weekend, Mike? Which team goes on to win goes on to play in the Super Bowl and represent the NFC?
Oh, this is a tough one. I've been going back and forth on this one because you never know what offense of the Eagles is going to show up. Is Jalen Hurts going to produce? Damn. Give me. Damn. Give me the. Fuck it. Give me the Commanders.
Okay.
Give me the Commanders. I think it's going to be a 1 possession game, and I'm leaning towards the Commanders.
All right, Derpy, over to you. The Commanders, again, there's a lot in this, a lot of storylines. You can't just say Washington is a pound for pound better team, which I do say that's the case. Philadelphia, I'm sorry, but then Washington, they got their whole story and a whole thing going on themselves here. Derpy, Mike takes the Commanders. Who do you like in this game to go to the Super Bowl?
He stole my thunder.
You taking Washington as well?
I'm taking Washington as well.
Interesting. So that's final answer for both of you guys. Washington Commanders.
See, if I was Derpy, I would have taken the Eagles. Hedged my bets a little bit there.
All right. And finally, over to the AFC, guys. The game that I think both of these games are going to be excellent. This one here, guys, the Buffalo Bills traveling to Kansas City to play the number 1 overall seed at Arrowhead. Mike, Buffalo at Kansas City. These teams are no strangers to one another. Matter of fact, this is the Patriots and the Colts all over again. I think that just has those 2 top tier quarterbacks. One's going to get screwed out because the other one's probably going to win a lot more. It's the Patriots and Colts all over again. Manning, Brady. Mike, who wins this particular football game this Sunday to go to the Super Bowl? The Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs?
The greatest quarterback of all time will win again in a battle of the quarterback who gets the most roughing the passer calls and the one who's perceived to most get the most roughing the passer calls. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Mahomes will come out on top like he always does against the Bills, because if the Bills are good at one thing, it is losing 4 consecutive times in a championship game, and now they will do it again. And Buffalo will lose. Kansas City is going to go on to the 3-peat. Let's go!
All right, so now we know what your thoughts are. Now you got to tell us what your score is.
Oh, score 28 to 26.
Kansas City 28 and Buffalo 26. Derpy, over to you. Kansas City Chiefs, they host the Buffalo Bills Sunday. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Derpy, who wins and what's the score going to be for tiebreaker reasons?
Well, I knew this matchup was predictable, inevitable because it's the rematch and the NFL wanted it.
Right, right.
But I'm gonna have to go with the Taylor Swift fan club. Give me the
That's
Chiefs.
interesting. Neither one of you taking Buffalo. I'm taking. All right. What's your
Buffalo
score?
Buffalo beat them early in the season, so that's why I'm taking the Chiefs.
What's your score, Derpy?
Um 31-28.
Ooh,
31-28.
the first time all year Casey scores over 30. Derpy saying.
Interesting. There's a couple things that I don't believe are going to happen. I don't believe they're going to score over 30, and I don't believe that Casey's going to win, but that's just me. So there you go, guys. We are all locked in. We have our picks. We have our tiebreakers. You guys both have an all Native American Super Bowl. Say
Yeah.
what you will. If it goes your way, the Redskins will be playing the Kansas City Chiefs, guys, in the Super Bowl in 2
Commander in
weeks.
Chiefs.
What's that?
The Commander in Chiefs.
There you go, the Commanders and Chiefs. How fitting for this week, right? Let's see. Let's go over a couple of these guys. I'm going to put this away in the vault. This will not come out until Monday. We will go over and see how Derpy did. I want to catch a couple of these comments, Mike, before we do get into
Yeah.
the email or the website before we start wrapping things up, because the guys are putting a lot of stuff up, and I don't want to miss out on a lot of this stuff. Let's see here, guys. All right, Corey Beaver says it's going to be another boring Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl, and the Eagles get revenge on a bogus pass interference call 2 years ago and prevent a three-peat. That's the last thing I don't want
That
a
would be
three-peat. Mike
Three
wants
Pete.
the three-peat.
I want 3 Pete. I want to see history.
Oh, go to a museum. Phil says when a mayor misspells your mascot, you're done. So go Elglis. What
Love it.
else do we got here? Where did it all go, Mike? Where did everything go?
I don't know. No, I don't know what's going on your screen. Mine's all nice and neat right here for me. Mine's nice and neat.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come up to the other end and I'm going to go backwards because.
Oh, there you go. Ooh,
All right, Bill Stadium has to be built on an ancient. Okay, P says Bill Stadium has to be built on an ancient Native American burial ground like the Poltergeist.
I think so.
Over enthusiastic in turn, Caleb says I predict the Chiefs are arrest for NFL inside trading, and the NFL picks the Steelers in the Chiefs' place. So that'd be nice. I can deal with that.
I can dig that. I like that. That's a good conspiracy theory. I can get behind that one.
Let's see what else. John says Bills fans haven't suffered through enough. KC.
Oh, they can suffer more.
He says the Great White Hope versus the Great Bright Hope.
That should be the tagline.
That should be the tagline for everything. Let's see. P also says haven't actually watched the Commanders game this year, so Eagles for football heritage as the great Jose Marino would say. John Perry, welcome to the show. He says 4 years in the league. Not 5. Also, you were not including what happened the first 3 years, but hey, why add context, right? His fourth was Tomlin deciding to sit him. John, I respectfully disagree. I just don't have the time to get into it with you.
Like we talked on multiple episodes about Fields' past.
We've had this.
He's improved year over year, but he's probably reached a ceiling like a lot of quarterbacks do. There's a reason certain quarterbacks are elite. They can do things consistently.
Do you consider him an elite quarterback, John?
That is true, John.
What's that, Derpy?
I said that is true, John.
What?
Look what he said.
Ryan might make a show without a belch. He burped already.
Oh man.
All right, let me go. I'm still going the other way. Okay, I think I'm all caught up there. I do want to get into that with you, John. And John, I apologize, Perry. I do apologize again. Maybe tomorrow, if you come back, we'll talk a little bit more. But we will get deep into that as we have before in the past. I think that if you're thinking that Justin Fields is the answer, I don't agree. Yinzer Joe said the Bills are just putting everything they got on the line. Allen has been going crazy. I think the Bills pull it off. They win 20.
31-21.
31-21. Okay, there's the Belch comment. The Belch shot. Yes, absolutely. Almost a Belch shutout.
He was holding a couple in earlier too. I could hear it when it's coming. Then I look over on his side of the screen. I can see him just holding it down.
Mike, but we are at that time in the show. Go ahead and tell everybody about the website.
The2dumyinjers.com. Check it out. A lot of people have been checking it out. I went back and checked the analytics. Like, my God, people be loving it over there. So I appreciate that. Check it out. Got all of our links over there. The merch store over there. And like I keep saying, the blog will be back after the Super Bowl.
So everybody that plays for Pittsburgh or plays for Chicago gets an automatic out. They're always going to get the excuse, well, they played for the Bears. You know what? He was a starter. I don't think that's a good enough out. I think that good players perform no matter where they're at. Saquon Barkley was in a terrible team for years, but he still maintained to be, to do what he does, to do your thing. Again, there's a lot to be said in that conversation. We've had it many times. John, what's the guy's name, Mike?
John Perry.
John Perry, come back tomorrow. I invite you back. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll have a fair conversation. I promise. Over enthusiastic recap from the Pipers Muskies ABA game from last night. Mel Daniels had 34.
It was a tight, close game, but the Pipers pulled it out at the end, man. It was a nail biter up until the finish.
But do check out the website, everybody, www.the2dumyinjers.com. A lot of cool things over there. Mike does a lot of work, and he's very proud of his work. So go check out the website, everybody. Guys, let's get into the trivia. I just want to say this. The board has voted, Mike. It is 50-50 on the board. Are you willing to have a bad season to get a top QB? Ooh. I cannot believe people were afraid to have a bad season. That's just my opinion. Guys, let's get to the question of the day. Question of the day. Here we go. This is also championship weekend trivia. Here we go. The Steelers played. Okay, here we go. The Steelers played these two teams the most times in AFC championship games. The Steelers played these two teams. It's the same amount of times they played, and there's two of them. Who did the Steelers play most in AFC championship games? Games to go to the Super Bowl, games to not go to the Super Bowl. Guys, they played two teams the most. Can you identify the two teams that they played more than anybody else in the AFC Championship? Guys, take a minute to think about it. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. All right, guys, the Steelers played these two teams the most in AFC Championship games. It's the same amount of times. Nonetheless, it's two of them. Who did they play the most in championship games? Derpy, I'm going to start with you today. What two teams are tied for the most times playing the Steelers in an AFC championship game? I need two teams, Derpy.
Two teams?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm going to say New England.
Okay.
And then
Feels on to you, Mike.
I'm going to go with the Broncos.
The Denver Broncos.
Yes.
Interesting choice. Derpy, is this your final answer?
Yes.
All right. Derpy says they played New England and Denver the most in AFC Championship history. They played these two teams more than anybody else. Mike, I'm going to come over to you. Who are the two teams that they played more than anybody else in AFC Championship history for the Steelers? Derpy says the Patriots and the Broncos.
Yeah, that's what Corey's saying is Patriots and the Broncos. I'm going to go with the Raiders. The Raiders and the Patriots.
Interesting pick, Mike. Mike takes the Raiders in the Patriots. Is this your final answer?
Final answer.
All right. And that in the Immaculate Reception wasn't even a championship game. So Mike going out on a limb here.
Yeah.
Not really even sure where he gets this team, but this is who he picks. He picks the Raiders and the Patriots. Derpy takes the Broncos and the Patriots. Guys, here's the question of the day. The Steelers played these two teams the most in AFC Championship games. The amount of times was 3 games. They played both of these teams 3 times in the championship. Now let me tell you the teams that they played twice. They played the Miami Dolphins, they played the Houston Oilers, and they played the Denver Broncos all twice.
Oh.
That's the second amount. The 2 teams that they played the most, they played both of these teams 3 times each. And they were, in fact, the New England Patriots and the Raiders. Somehow Mike grabbed that one. But it is the Raiders, New England. Good job, guys. They played both of those teams 3 times. And the other 3 teams they played 2 times, Miami, Denver, and Houston. And then you throw a few other teams in there along the way. But that is the correct answer. Good, congratulations, Mike, the Raiders and the Patriots. Nice try, Derpy, and everybody on the board as well. That is question of the day. Tomorrow will be the last AFC. We'll be diving into trying to figure out what's going to happen this weekend, Mike. Who's going to be heading to the Super Bowl next week? And I think Finchy will be in the house tomorrow, so we hope that you join us then as well. And I think that will be our last day of AFC Championship trivia. Let me catch what John has going on. He says, so what are you going to do if Fields starts and wins 11 games in a playoff game? Look at the Bears and the seasons they had with the supposed better team. After we'll cross that bridge when we get there. When Justin Fields wins 11 games and wins a playoff game, we will. I promise you.
You back up the bridge truck.
I disagree. I don't think that will happen. That's just my opinion, John. Again, I respectfully disagree. But again, we're kind of on a time restraint. If you want to come back tomorrow, which I invite you to, I will respectfully have this argument / debate with you, and basically go over everything that we've been saying all along. I'm not going to change anything. I stay consistent with what it is that I'm going to say. So again, stop by tomorrow. We will be more than glad to have that conversation with you. There's been a lot of football played through the course of my life. There's guys that you see that just have it, and there's guys that you see that don't. There's guys that he's very Cordell Stewart-like in a way, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But the one thing that I keep seeing, guys, I don't know if he has that X factor. There's an X factor that every quarterback that continues to play well in this league and continues to win and be successful, they have. I don't see Justin Fields having it. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying that he's not going to be a good quarterback in the league. But is he going to be the guy that's going to take you to the promised land? I think that's what the Steeler fans are most concerned about. Guys, the final poll of the day is this. Are you willing to have a bad season to get a top quarterback? 54% said yes, and 46 say no. That is the final results of the day. So it's pretty close. It's very interesting. And again, what's the right answer? Who really knows? So I appreciate you, John. I hope you do. I hope to see you tomorrow and everybody else as well, of course. I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us and hanging out with us today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys are awesome as always. You always keep things interesting here on the show, and everybody at home as well. I want to say thank you to Michael, Derpy. Mike, anything before we get ready to take off for today?
No, man. I just want to say thanks. Everyone. The board was active today. I love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You guys are the best. Can't wait to do this again tomorrow.
Derpy, what about you, my man?
I got 3 things.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday to Myron Cope. Even though he's not with us anymore, happy birthday to him.
All right.
Secondly, they announced the dates for the draft.
Okay.
Which are
23rd through 25th.
Of
26.
Of
April.
Thank you.
All right.
And shout out to Paul from the Wombo Combo show.
All right. Yes.
That was the paired one. So.
Yeah. Saw that one.
Okay. Welcome, Paul. Just go catch a couple of these real quick. Corey says Seinfeld do a 2-year, $15 million deal to prove himself. John says that's cool. We'll do. Phil, cheers. F Derpy smoke alarm. Thanks, guys. Jen, if any time, thank you. Next poll: do want Derpy's smoke detector fixed? That, guys, maybe tomorrow we will put that
It'll
one
be
up
tomorrow. Yeah, that should
or
be
maybe
100%.
next time Derpy's on. I think Finch will be in tomorrow. I'm not real sure about Derpy, what he has going on, but we will be back tomorrow, guys. Tonight, the Pittsburgh Penguins late game tonight out in Anaheim, trying to get back in this playoff race. That game's at 10 o'clock. Check them out. Other than that, we'll be back tomorrow at our normal time to get ready for championship weekend. So we hope you do join us. Come back. We'll talk all kind of football. Get ready for that. All the Pittsburgh sports heading into the weekend and more.
I got one more thing.
Yeah, Derpy, please.
Boom!
Boom! That's right, baby.
You guys are nuts.
P says 3 things Derpy doesn't have: 2 packs of batteries and a step ladder.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much. We can't wait to talk to everybody tomorrow. We'll be back our normal time. I hope everybody has a great Thursday. Stay warm. It's terrible outside. I know it's really terrible here where we're at, and everybody from everywhere. John is in Vegas, and Jen is in Wisconsin, and people everywhere. And I know that this weather is just terrible across the country. So people, stay warm, be careful, and we will see everybody back tomorrow at our regular time. Everyone have a great day. For Derpy, for Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, myself, the two Dumb Yinzers, have a great day. We'll see you.